what's up, everybody? And I know I'm a few minutes late. Sorry about that. See if anybody wants to join us here. All right. Hope you all can hear me all right. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Make sure we got the good old mic kicking. All right, so I want to follow up with last time. So last time I did a flip through of the Dungeon Craft Battle Maps and Jungles of Dread. Let's back you up a little bit here, as much as I can. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I want to do a follow up to that one because get myself all together here. I want to do a follow up because I actually got to use it at my table, and I want to tell you guys what that experience was like. So here's, wrote out the whole adventure and everything that we went through. So first, let's talk about the battle map that I showed you guys last time. This one that, let's see if I can't get it. So it's all jungle on one side, right? And then on the other side, it's jungle on each far side, and then like a waterfall river running through the middle here. Okay, so when I saw this, I thought, one, it looks cool, but two, with it folded, I was wondering how well it was going to lay flat. You know, is our mini's going to kind of not be able to sit too well on it. But when I got it out on my table, it laid pretty flat, and we didn't have an issue with any of the minis, kind of falling over or any of the creases. So that was good. I had worried about that, but no, the map laid pretty flat, and we were able to use it without a problem. And I'll get to the rest of it later, but the map is super awesome, and it's large. It is a very large map, and it's dry erase, wet erase, and it worked out really well. I should probably say, I should have said this up front. 1985 Games provided me a complimentary copy of Dungeon Craft Battle Maps, the Jungle Floor Pack, and the Jungles of Dread 2D Terrain Pack. They provided that. It is pretty awesome. They provided that to me complimentary, so I could do a review for you guys. I already did a flip-through review, but this time I'm talking about my experience of actually using it at the game table. And like I said, when I first saw this folded up, I'm like, man, it looks really cool, but how well is it going to sit on my table? And it sat perfectly fine. We didn't have a problem with the miniatures falling over or anything. So that worked out well. Now, when it came to Jungles of Dread, it was awesome. Okay, it was awesome. I wrote a whole adventure using the terrain, and I'm going to go over it so you can see how I use the terrain. But the terrain was awesome. The adventure was good. I want to shout out my lovely wife. Hi, Morgan. How are you? Is this a game? This is terrain that you use in your fantasy game. I used it in D&D. Shout out to Kendall. Shylin, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. How y'all doing tonight? Hope y'all doing well. So my group, they crash landed their airship on the side of a mountain, and they had to travel down the side of the mountain and into this jungle and through this jungle. And that's how they got to experience the jungles. Thank you. Y'all are amazing for watching. Thank you for watching. They had to experience this jungle because they had to journey through the jungle. And so the first thing that they came across is one of the most awesome things in the Jungles of Dread, in my opinion, and that's the giant statue. Let's see. So the giant statue, you got the feet and the arm. You got the chest. And you got the head. And the battle map is big enough that I was able to put all three of those onto the map. So that's another plus to the battle map. So they came across that, and but what they also found was gargoyles. And the gargoyles do come in the Jungles of Terrain, and I can't find them right now. There they are. Okay. So they came across gargoyles, and the gargoyles were guarding the giant statue, and as they got close, boom, the gargoyles came alive. Hi Charlotte, how you doing? And the gargoyles came alive, and so they had to deal with the gargoyles. Thank you for all the kind words. Thank you. And so like I said, all this stuff comes right in Jungles of Dread. So they dealt with the gargoyles. I was hoping the gargoyles would have been more of a challenge, but my players are pretty smart and they got through it pretty well. And so then they came across a scouting party. Well, a scouting party of Aarakocra. Yeah, that's the bird people. Met with them, and they had a little bit of a dialogue, and they convinced the bird people that they weren't a threat, and so the Aarakocra led them back to a temple, and the temple was built around a sacred fountain, and this fountain has water that cures you of bad conditions like poison or what have you, and it also gives you a short rest. So they had to journey through this temple and prove that they were worthy of the sacred water. And so they went through traps and puzzles and what have you until they got to, this was the chamber that I had the sacred fountain in, and that's the fountain. And so this is all 2D terrain that comes in Jungles of Dread, but that was the fountain that they got the sacred water from, and they met an Aarakocra elder there that gave them a quest to take flasks of that sacred water to a nearby town where werewolves were turning people to werewolves, and so this sacred water would break that curse. And so my players accepted the quest to help this town that's being overtaken by werewolves, but they had to journey out of the rest of the jungle to do it. So they leave the thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I get a lot of subs too. You know, like I say, I got the coolest people on the internet watching my videos because I get so much positivity, and people haven't been rude or anything. Oh, thank you, Renee. Thank you. So then they left the sacred fountain area, and they went up to a market area. And check this out. This is like I said before, this is like the Walmart in a jungle. You know, you stop here and you get your rations and your weapons and whatever you need to take on the jungle. And so they stopped at the jungle Walmart. There was a tavern too, but they didn't even stop in there for a drink. I thought they would, but But what's cool is, you know, add a little flavor to it. I had these little shops all around as well, so they could hit the little shops. And that was to add a little flavor, a little smaller shop if they didn't want to go to the Jungle Walmart. And so then they started to venture through the jungle. And of course, when I have the big battle map out, you know, we had the jungle ferns kind of kicking. We had the jungle flowers. And then they learned not to touch these. So these little flowers, the purple and the yellow, I actually used the violet fungus monster on page 138 of the monster manual. Whenever they came near those, it was actually a monster that they had to deal with. And they actually got poisoned, but then they used the sacred water to heal themselves of the poison. So after the sacred water, so after they get their supplies and they head back into the jungle. So my players are really great, I guess, at survival checks, because I had encounters ready for them for the jungle if they failed their survival checks, but they passed all of them. Had they failed one, they would have faced the giant snake. And like I said, the battle map is so huge. Thank you. The battle map is so huge that you can have a monster this big on that battle map and it doesn't take up your whole map, you know? And, but they passed their survival checks, so they didn't face the giant snake. Unfortunately, I wanted to put that against them. But then they get to the end of the jungle, and at the end of the jungle, they have to cross the river, right? They have to cross the river. And how did they do that? Well, there was a downed tree right across there. But as they get close to the downed tree, I had a group of orcs ambush them. And so they made it across the downed tree, and then they cut the tree free so that the orcs couldn't cross and attack them anymore. And one of my players, who is a ranger, then critted with an arrow and sunk an arrow right through an orc's head, because he's awesome like that. So yeah, that's how I used the Jungles of Dread terrain. Also, I had other encounters ready, like this ape dude. He was going to attack the players and even get a little bloody as he did it, but they passed their survival checks, so that didn't get to happen. Had they got to face the giant snake, I probably would have dropped this is like a snake monument. That would have been cool, but no, they had to pass their survival checks. But here's a couple of here's one of the orc dudes. Thank you. Yeah, I try to do a live every Saturday, right about this time. I even had quicksand ready, so they fall into the quicksand, and now, oh no. So I had things ready for them, but they were really good on their survival checks. But that was the adventure that I used Jungles of Dread for. Now, I did have a riddle in the adventure, and I'm going to read the riddle to you guys, and maybe you can figure it out. This is the riddle that they had to solve in the Aarakocra Temple. So here's the riddle. Let's see if you guys can get it. With feathers fair and wings that span, I ride the currents, swift and grand. Above the trees I dance and twirl, invisible yet rules the world. I carry whispers, secrets and more, from distant lands to every shore. In temples high I whisper low, a voice of wisdom for all to know. What am I? So I will give the answer to the riddle at the end of the live. What's up, AM Clark? Woot. So that was the adventure that I made using the Jungles of Dread terrain and using the battle maps that the 1985 games sent me. It was awesome. I loved it. I think I enjoyed using Jungles of Dread even more than Dungeon Craft Volume 2, the one that they sent me last time. I really liked this this terrain pack, and my players said that they had a good time. That's awesome. Tell your dad he's awesome, and you're awesome too. So you know, if you have a game that's happening in a jungle, or if you're a DM and you're planning a jungle campaign, head over to 1985 Games and check out the Jungles of Dread pack. You know, or at least the Jungle Floor battle map, because it's a gigantic battle map. I couldn't believe how big this battle map is, and it's wet and dry erase, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, I had a really good time with it, and I didn't have any issues. And my awesome wife, like I said, she cut out all the terrain, which was very nice of her because there was a lot of it. and it was just cool because, I mean, you can just drop the ferns and the flowers everywhere and make it look like a real jungle. You dig what I'm saying? So, do you guys have any questions for me? Oh, and the answer to the riddle was wind. So if you said winds, you got it right. So, all right. Well, that was my update on how my experience with Jungles of Dread and the battle map went. Hope y'all dug it. I'm probably going to do another live or two tonight. So if you're doom scrolling and you got nothing else to watch, you know, I'll be coming back up in probably just a couple minutes. All right? So, hey, but if I don't see you, y'all have a great night, okay?